I just want to make, no, I
You
just
already
want
turned the camera.
All right, Owen, you ready?
We're good. Okay, good evening. It's just a little bit past 7 o'clock. We're here for our meeting of the Danvers Planning Board this evening. We're at the Danvers Senior Center and also participating virtually as well. It's September 12th, 2023. My name is Lou George. I am the clerk of the Planning Board, but today I'll be serving as acting chair. Jim Sears will not be participating in this evening's meeting. Tori Adler, one of our members, will not be at the meeting this evening, but I am joined here by Jean Hartnett, who will be serving as acting clerk today, as well as Tim Spittle. So, and we do have planning staff, Josh Morris, here today as well. So first of all, looking at our agenda for today, it's the first agenda item is 152 Endicott Street, request for a roadway improvement plan and site plan review pursuant to Section 4 of the Zoning Bylaw submitted by JBM Danvers LCC for property in the Commercial 3 zoning district. The applicant proposes to improve an existing way, Chalet Court, to access a new retail commercial building and a new hotel, Assessor's Map 63, Lot 14. And I think we have a note here, it's continued to the Planning Board meeting on September 26, 2023, as requested by the applicant in a letter dated July 31st, 2023.
That's right.
Do we need a motion on that?
Yes,
Okay. And just so we begin, so Josh, this was a request by the applicant?
that's right.
Okay. Very good. Any further add on that, or just going to be, so it'll just be continued to our next regular meeting?
That's right.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion for this continuance.
I make a motion that we continue 152 Endicott Street to the next meeting on September 26th, 2023.
Okay, there's a first by Jean. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Tim. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Bradstreet has a question. Mr. Bradstreet, if you'd like to. This is not a public hearing, but we would certainly take your question.
Thank you. Again, Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. Their business has been continued September 26. On September 14, the Conservation Commission is having a meeting, and they're also discussing 152 Endicott Street. Will that be better addressed before or after the continued meeting? I don't know. I'm asking you.
Well, the matter that's on the 14th, that's related to the Conservation Commission.
Right, and the same piece of property.
Same piece of property. Mm-hmm.
And I'm asking of you, is this better dealt with before or after this continued meeting? Or does it matter?
Let me see if I can turn this to staff.
Sure.
Josh, can you?
I guess if I could ask a clarifying question, what is it that you're referring to? Using the word dealt with? I don't know what that means.
You're dealing with the piece of property at 152 Endicott Street. There were been a lot of discussion in the past, a long time ago before we were very old. The town or the property owner was able to fill in some conservation land, something that probably wouldn't happen today. So the Conservation Commission is involved in this piece of property. To what extent, I don't know, can't remember. Mm-hmm. They are going to meet on the what did I say, the 14th of September, and they're going to be, it's on their agenda, it's their regular agenda item. You don't know what they're going to talk about, what they're going to deal with, or what have you. is, obviously, this has been continued, tonight's meeting has been continued to after this.
Yep.
My question, I guess, is, they're adjusting this, you're going to discuss it, is that going to come into play when the next public planning board meeting, or is it just a formality for them to go through? I'm trying to explain it, I don't know if I'm doing it right.
As we speak right now, on Thursday, September 14th, there will be Conservation Commission related matters associated with the project discussed at the meeting this Thursday with the Conservation Commission, and then other site planning, traffic, lighting, all of the site plan related matters will be discussed at the planning board meeting on Tuesday, September 26th. That's what we just continued,
So they can take place on separate
Yes.
tracks? There's not like one is dependent on the other, is it?
If the information, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, I was gonna say-
Information on the September 14th Conservation Commission, their information, decision, advice, or whatever, will come into play onto this continued case from tonight.
Yeah, the applications with the planning board and the Conservation Commission can occur concurrent, they can happen concurrently or simultaneously.
I guess
yes,
he's
they
wondering,
are
is will
all-
anything that takes place there going to necessarily affect what's going to happen on the 26th?
I mean, if there are Conservation Commission conversations, discussions, they change the plan in some manner to, improve the natural resource area, then that would also impact the site plan that we're talking about a couple weeks later. So yes, they are connected for sure. You have a question?
At some point in the past, don't remember how far back, different boards were supposed to be working together. If one board made a decision that hindered the next board in their making the decision, it's like we're fighting ourselves. And I believe the consensus at the time when Mr. Marquis was the town manager was that the boards should not be meeting. One board should not be meeting and making a decision that would hinder another board that was going to be discussing, however, the same item, so that one says yes, one can't say no, because the other board has said yes. That's why I'm asking if these two boards, tonight's, which is continued, and the Conservation Commission, their board, if they do meet when they're scheduled, if something that they say will have an adverse or a complementary effect on the planning board's meeting.
Would you like me to comment, or?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more complementary, I would say, than the other word you used. The Conservation Commission, is looking at the natural resource portion. I'm not sure what's going to be discussed on Thursday night, but whatever happens that night, whether, I don't even know if they're going to definitively vote that evening. It would, be consistent with our conversation of the overall development of the site.
Okay.
So I would say that we're separate, regulatory boards, but we're certainly working together.
My point being that if one makes a decision that would go against the other board's decision that they've thought about, it's, again, fighting amongst ourselves and doesn't help anyone, certainly not the town.
Mr. Bradstreet, I think that when our member Jean has a point here.
So we got a permitting update this week, I think, and it has, all the different commissions that are meeting, and the 152 Endicott Street was on the list, and it says that on the 14th, the commission is requiring a professional wetland scientist peer review of the application, as well as a site visit. So that's what they'll be talking about.
Oh, okay, all right. It's just, the point of history was that it come up when Denny's and the motel was put in a long time ago. There wasn't the opposition to filling in the wetlands that there are today. So that's what's going to be discussed. The damage has been done, whether they'll be asked to bring the land back to what it used to be, or not. Very expensive, but that's my concern, was because of the way the land was altered, because it was marshland and they needed the space to build on. I don't know if I'm the only one that really cares, but it's something that has come up, and I just was hoping to get some kind of an answer. And again, I don't want one board fighting with the other because of what's going on down there. Is that?
I think if those are your concerns or questions, I would certainly recommend the Thursday night meeting would certainly be an appropriate venue for those to be voiced.
Thank you. Hopefully I'll be alive so I can go to that meeting, but I wanted my concern, and I can't be the only one who has my concern in mind. I'd like to be there. I hope I can be there just to see what goes on. I just wanted it out in the open. There are concerns, and again, I can't be the only one who has that concern. But I appreciate your advice, and that's why I asked the question. Thank you.
No problem, thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you. So the continuance has been approved. So let's move on to the next agenda item here. So this is the Whipple Hill Subdivision, Tripartite Agreement and Release of Performance Guarantee. I don't believe that there's an applicant who will be presenting. Josh, staff, do you have a presentation you'd like to make on this? Or?
Sure. So the Whipple Hill subdivision was approved on June 14th, 2016. It's a 20-lot subdivision. Over the past kind of more recent 3 to 4 years, there's kind of been a little bit of progress towards completing it. But in the most recent kind of engineering memo from February 22nd, 2022, there's a list of kind of remaining items, including but not limited to like the stone bounds for the property corners, the as-built plan, a street layout plan, things. There really hasn't been very much to little kind of movement in kind of those items being completed. The engineering staff, or the town engineer, the engineering division has recently sent the planning board a memo or letter requesting the planning board as one of the parties in the tripartite agreement to release $21,910, the remaining portion of the performance guarantee, in order for the town to essentially complete the subdivision. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's, beneficial information. The town, I think, is just looking at this point to kind of get the subdivision to the sort of the, like a better term, the finish line. We did something quite similar unfortunately, at the Folly Hill subdivision. This is a much, kind of smaller financial amount, and the list of incomplete items is smaller, but the hope is for us to finish it. So town staff and engineering is recommending to folks that we move forward with releasing the performance guarantee, and then we'd reach out to the the financial institution who's involved with the tripartite agreement for the remaining funds. So
Got it.
happy to answer any questions.
Okay, sure. All right, are there any questions from the board? Tim?
So, in an instance like this, how much of this information becomes available to us in the future, such that we would know that if this developer was to come before us again, that they breached the agreement and we had to withdraw the funds this way?
So your question is how would staff kind of parlay this information to folks? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if this has happened in the past or in this instance.
I would say that this is, to be honest, kind of not that common, or, generally it's not a situation, usually subdivisions are completed in a kind of a couple years, several years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It's not too common. I mean, unfortunately, we had to do it at Folly Hill. I mean, I don't think it's something that where I sit, staff is a situation that's obviously ideal, but we are where we are, so. Does that answer your question, or?
Well, I just meant if these developers were to come before us again, would that information be sort of presented and carried forward, such that we would know that this has happened in a previous subdivision?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that every kind of each project should sort of kind of sit on its own and be particular, and not maybe held without prejudice in that way, but we could, everything in our world is public, so that information can be given.
Fair.
I'm hoping where we sit, this type of situation moving forward is not too common. So I don't know.
Okay, no other questions, thanks.
Dean?
Is that amount, the 21,900, going to be enough to cover everything that still needs to be done?
That's an interesting question. There's one item in particular. Luckily, we are one of the stormwater basins, retention ponds, needs to kind of be like redesigned or regraded, and we've actually we've been able to collaborate with an agency that we reached out to. We discovered they're called the Northeast Massachusetts Mosquito Control and Wetlands Management District. It's a program under the umbrella of the Department of Agriculture. So luckily with the collaboration with them, we will be, if it were not for the collaboration with them, we would not have enough. We would likely not have enough money to complete it on our own. But in collaborating with them to complete it, particularly that one item, we think that it should suffice or be very close. But if not for them, probably not.
Do you need anything further? I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Josh, just with respect to, so in terms of the, I guess in terms of any sort of discussions with the developer,
Mhm.
has that kind of, I mean, has the developer been involved in this, in discussions, and they just indicated that they're just not able to do it, or is it?
Yeah, we started kind of, we as town staff have reached out to the developer applicant several times and through email and then their counsel.
Yep.
Since at least June, saying, we'd like to see some progress. These are the remaining items. We'd like this to be complete by August, the end of the summer. There were several emails sent, and there was no correspondence. There was no correspondence, so I guess that's the only.
So there's
Yeah.
been no, so that's why you'd be going, because, I mean, this is a pretty significant act to go and
Sure.
pull the remaining funds, but certainly they've been advised and they have not responded.
They were, even up until tonight's meeting, I reached out to the development team, told them this was going to be on the agenda, I'm not really sure what else we could have done.
And have the residents in the neighborhood, have the abutters been advised of what's been going on? Are they aware of, have there been complaints of unfinished work?
There's at least probably 1 to 3 kind of property owners who have been pretty active, or kind of to our office, what's happening.
Yep.
Definitely one in particular, like just in, they're sort of impacted by this detention basin that needs to be regraded, because it's been like ponding with water when it shouldn't be.
And ponding
So-
with water, especially during the weather we've been having.
Right. It's supposed to not essentially have no water. After 48 hours, essentially no water, and it has essentially become a pond, or like it has wetland vegetation now. So, I don't think all 20 property owners haven't been kind of, like a better clamoring or been reaching out, but there have been several who have been pretty active, and they reach out to the office. What's happening? When is this going to be complete? What's going on with the pond? So it's time probably for this to move forward.
Very good. Okay. See, this is a public meeting, not a public hearing on this, but does anyone have, Mr. Bradstreet, do you have a question? See your hand raised?
Again, Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I would hope that, just a comment, that the board would not approve this. My question is, if the town is stuck with finishing this project, is actually $21,910 enough to complete what wasn't completed? Or is the town going to get stuck with an additional bill? And if they are, where does that money come from? If I can ask the question.
Sure, I think that might have been addressed by Gene's question, but if maybe
Sure.
Josh can.
Sure. Yeah. So the
He said it would have been close if not for certain.
we would probably not have had enough money to complete it. However, we've been collaborating with a state agents division within the Department of Agriculture to help us with one of the more kind of probably expensive items remaining. So due to this kind of shared kind of relationship, and they've agreed to, what do they say? They've agreed to, we can, quote, we can definitely do the job. So we think that with this collaboration with the state on that one item, that the funds, the $21,910 will be very close to completing the stone bounds, the layout plan, the final as-built plan, in order so that the subdivision could be completed and then would ultimately be voted at town meeting to be accepted as a public street.
I have to say, I'm happy that another state agency is willing to collaborate with us. Do they have enough money to cover this particular job and every other job that might come up in the state? And if they don't, where would they get their money? The bottom line is money in almost everything. They're willing to donate money, quote unquote, to help finish what we want done. Again, the person that started this project put up a performance bond. Even if we take that, how much are we and the collaborators with us going to have to spend? We'd be using this. The other agency has to draw some money from someplace. I'd be sympathetic to them for having to come up, or being willing to come up with the money that might be better spent dealing with an issue in another community that, rather than helping us. I'm just disappointed in the developer more than anything. Not with the efforts we've made, but I'm just disappointed in the developer who's obviously not doing his job. At least to me, it sounds like he's not doing his job. I'm just asking a question.
So what was the question? Just,
Is this money
Yeah.
enough to, with the donated funds or efforts by the collaborators,
Yep.
enough to finish this job? My concern is, that's $21,900 and whatever dollars that the town can use.
mhm.
We don't know, or you haven't said how much the
Yeah.
collaborators are going to be able to, or
Yeah.
have to, or whatever, contribute so that this project, or this part of the project
Sure.
can be completed. I'm just disappointed that whoever started the project wasn't willing to or unable to complete what he said he would do.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I get, we have had several correspondence with the state agency. I do have an email that says, for quote, "We can definitely do the job. You know, I will send a more detailed request letter that, you know, the town will have to sign." But I think where we sit, this is, you know, we have to sign the contract with them and everything,
Right.
but it's sort of a formality at this point. But I think that town staff and with, you know, Steve King, the town engineer, we've all been working together on this. We feel comfortable that the funds should get it with the state agency, should get us. We don't have to, we will very likely not have to get additional funds from different places to finish this up. And I don't think that if we were in that situation, if we probably wouldn't be probably taking this action if we'd have to kind of figure out what we'd have to do. But I think for us taking this step, and especially from the town engineer, writing this memo, that he's comfortable
Right.
with the amount of money that's left, that we feel that we can finish it.
And so the step would be taking this from this is, in essence, we're, you know, by this action tonight would be, it's releasing the performance guarantee as well, but it's pulling the remaining funds from the agreement,
That's right.
which then we'll use in conjunction with the other assistants, finish the job.
Yes.
Understand, I'm not questioning what the town has done. I'm happy that the town has taken the effort to try to finish this job with the part of the performance guarantee and this other agency. I share the board members' concern that if this particular company, in whatever name they use, acts this way towards the town, have they done it in the past, and will it be a point of contention if they attempt to do another project in the town? Will it be a detriment, or will it be a black mark against their efforts because of their past non-performance? And I don't know if that's the right way to ask the question. I'm just disappointed in who this development company is, and I think the board members was trying to say the same thing. Would it be held against them? Should it be held against them?
That's probably not the appropriate way to do
Again,
it. But
I'm just throwing it out there.
Sure.
I'm not an expert, I'm not on the board, I'm certainly not a lawyer, it's just a question that's in my mind. If it's an unanswerable question tonight, that's fine. I just wanted it out there.
Right. And I
Right,
think that's a
Mr. Jo-
question, I think that's also, I understand your question, and I think it's a, you know, I understand your question, but I don't know if that's in terms of what's before us right now. In terms of, I think what we're looking to is what it takes to finish the job in terms of, and by doing it, accessing the funds from the tripartite agreement.
That and the agency that the state has volunteered to help us with.
Right, well, right now, what the vote is on, what we'll be looking on is releasing the funds from the agreement, which then the town could use in conjunction with these additional funds to finish the job.
Okay, I guess I'm talking around in circles.
Yeah.
The funds would be released to the town
Yeah.
to do the job?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I guess that's part of what I need answered, but again, I'm just disappointed in the developer, whoever or whatever he is. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any further questions from the board? Okay. If not, then can I entertain a motion here? So do you have I think you have the decision, Jean?
Mm-hmm.
Want to read it?
Okay. Do I start right here with we?
I think you begin just with the whole subject line,
Okay.
starting to.
Okay. Whipple Hill Definitive Subdivision, Danvers, Mass. Release of performance guarantee regarding the tripartite agreement between the Town of Danvers Planning Board, Whipple Hill LLC, and Reading Cooperative Bank. This is to certify that at a meeting of the Danvers Planning Board held on September 12th, 2023, by a motion duly made and seconded, it was voted, we, the Danvers Planning Board, find that Whipple Hill LLC has failed to complete the installation of the municipal services and ways necessary to serve the Whipple Hill Definitive Subdivision as depicted in the Engineering Division Memorandum, Subdivision Bond Estimate, dated February 22nd, 2022. We, the Danvers Planning Board, request the $21,910 in funds from the tripartite agreement from Reading Cooperative Bank for the completion of the subdivision, as stated in the tripartite agreement voted by the Planning Board on August 27, 2019, in the event the developer's obligations are not completed within the time set forth in paragraph 4 above, July 23, 2020, or as extended, or if the work undertaken by the developer pursuant to the developer's obligations is not completed in a manner satisfactory to the board in accordance with the rules and regulations and this agreement, of any of the withheld funds remaining undisbursed shall, upon written request of the board, be made available in whole or in part to the board for the completion of the developer's obligations. The developer shall be deemed to have authorized the release of said funds for said purpose.
Okay. Very good. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Tim. Very good. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, very good. So that's passed. Okay. Thank you, Josh, for the explanation on that. I think our next agenda item here is I think we have one set of minutes. Is that right?
That's right.
So these are the minutes from the July 25th, 2023 meeting. And I believe that everybody here was at that meeting, so we'd be able to vote on it. Are there any corrections or changes? Jean, anything?
Nope.
Tim, you see anything?
Nope.
Very good. Can I entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as written for July 25th, 2023.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Very good. Second by Tim. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? None. Okay. Very good. Okay, I think that is it on our agenda here. Josh, do you have any in terms of what's upcoming next in terms of next meetings or
Yep,
things we
sure.
should be aware of?
Yep, so as we just continued earlier in the evening, the 152 Endicott Street, the roadway plan and site plan for the proposed project at 152 Endicott Street, as we speak, is the only item on that next meeting on Tuesday, September 26th.
That's the only agenda item on the 26th.
That's right,
Okay?
as we speak.
Okay.
Mhm. There might be an administrative matter between now and then, but I do not know. There's been no official application. So that next meeting will have a, center on that proposed project. So
Okay.
there will probably be a decent amount of conversation. So
And that's a continuation, in essence, of the meeting that we had on this proposal, I guess, last month, is it?
I think it was July.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, July.
No, yeah, no, it was a while ago, right?
Right, okay.
Yep.
Anything else up ahead in terms of upcoming meetings, or that's what we have right now?
That's the only official application.
Okay, very good.
Certainly there will likely be a decent amount of zoning amendment conversation as we get later into the October, November.
Okay.
We will have to open the public hearings for zoning amendments, including the MBTA 3A communities that we've been discussing.
Okay.
So with the February 5th town meeting,
That's right, and just so people know at home, so the town meeting are, so our town meeting, which is going to be covering zoning amendments and a few other matters, that's going to be February 5th,
that's right.
correct? Okay. But I know initially it was going to be in, I believe, was it November, December?
That's right, November. Earlier in the summer, spring, we were internally discussing November, but as of right now, the focus is on, or the February is very likely town meeting, so.
Okay. Very good.
Mhm.
Good. All right, anything else from the members here? Or? No? Okay. Well, if not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, our September 12th meeting of the planning board is adjourned. Have a good evening.